Hello and welcome to the Night Feed. I'm your host, Charlotte, here to bring you some comfort, camaraderie, and conversation and keep you company during, let's face it, one of the toughest parts of being a new parent, the Night Feed. Tonight's unpaid sponsor is Forgetting the Nappy Bag. You do it once and you never do it again. And it's always when there's been a big nappy leakage, isn't it? You reach for that bag and it's not there. No nappy, no spare clothes, no wipes. It's a very humbling experience and one you definitely won't repeat. So, as you may have gathered from the title, I have some really exciting news to share with you. I am currently 15 weeks pregnant with our third baby and absolutely over the moon. We had the scan last week and all is well, thankfully. So, we've been sharing the news this past week, which has been really wholesome pre-Christmas, going to relatives and telling them the news. And Jason and I are both one of three siblings, so we've always liked the idea of having three babies. But over the past year, we have been toying with whether we have our wedding before baby three or not. As some of you may know, we got engaged just pre-COVID and then had our babies. And this wedding keeps getting put off by babies because this third baby came as a lovely surprise and we couldn't be happier. And we've thought a lot about the age gap and actually waiting to get married and then having another one, the age gap would be a lot bigger. So currently we have 18 months between our first two and there will be 3 years between our second baby and this third baby, which is quite nice, I think. Jason's thinking it's a boy. I'm also thinking it's a boy, actually, this time. I didn't really have many different symptoms in my first trimester, apart from going off coffee, which I absolutely love coffee. And for the first 6 weeks of this pregnancy, I couldn't touch it. I couldn't go near it. I hated the smell. I hated the taste. But then I'm back on it now. And actually, the guidance has changed around coffee, which a lot of you will probably know as brand new mums, that it used to be, I think, was it like 240 milligrams? I can't remember off the top of my head, but it equated to about 2 or 3 cups of coffee was kind of the max. But with my midwife the other week, she actually told me that one coffee is pushing it. She said, you can have one, but really try and restrict it if you can. Because apparently there's been studies come out recently linking it to miscarriage and stillbirth, which is really scary because with my first, I was kind of told, well, just watch it, but, we understand that you need your coffee when you're pregnant, which is kind of true, isn't it? I don't know about you, but in my first trimester, I am so shockingly tired and I felt super sick. I was never physically sick. And it's always that awkward time when you can't tell anyone. If you're like us, we like to wait for the scan. So I just felt so rough and not up to anything and moody. Oh, my hormones were up the wall, poor Jason. And then it's like something clicks when you get to that second trimester, with me anyway, and my energy came flooding back. I felt great. The sickness went and I could drink coffee again. It's amazing, isn't it, how your body changes through those trimesters. It was as if by magic when I got to that 12-week mark. I was like, oh my God, I feel human again. I feel like I can function and I'm not just going to be sick at any point and I can eat again without feeling really ill. So yeah, I'm through that weird kind of constant seasickness feeling, thankfully. And just in a few months, I'll be back there with all of you new mums, 2 new babies, up hourly during the night, not sleeping, fueled on coffee. To be fair, I'm still up in the night with toddlers, so I do still feel like I'm in the throes of the night waking, just not as much. I tell you what, though, I mean, now I have my energy back, it's great, but our youngest, who is 2.5, is a little whirlwind, bless her. She does not stop. And today I have spent it just chasing her like a mad woman. Like, we went to the supermarket to do the food shop. Usually it's fine. She sits in the trolley because her sister is in nursery in the morning now. So I think, right, I'll take my youngest. It'll just be the two of us. He'll be fine. And usually she'll happily sit in the trolley, but today was not the day. I went to put her in. She kicked off. She was like, no. And she was doing that thing, where they do with their feet, where they kick around the trolley and you just physically cannot get them in. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to have to carry you. So I started to carry her and I was like, no, this is not going to be possible with a trolley. I said, right, well, you can walk. You have to hold Mummy's hand, but you can walk. And it was going really well at first. She was going down the fruit aisle, picking the fruit, started lobbing a few things, like the cucumber got lobbed completely into the trolley, other things more gently. We get to the meat aisle. She starts going mad for the sausage rolls, which is fine. She starts trying to open the fridge doors, which was, slight hazard. But apart from that, she was okay. Then she picked up this massive 2-litre milk and just started walking towards me. But we got through it until we got to the middle aisle. And if you shop in Aldi, you'll know about the middle aisle. This time of year, it is packed full of toys. And there, staring her out, was this humongous, bluey, cuddly toy. And I mean, probably like twice her size. And she just shouted, Bluey, and ran to him. I thought, right, here's the next challenge. She's only small, but she managed to pull this huge Bluey down from the metal basket it was in and just hug it, and was looking up at me with these beautiful blue eyes, like, it's Bluey. And I just pulled out the classic Christmas one-liner saying that Father Christmas might bring it if she's good, and puts it back. And it worked. But yeah, that was a challenge. And then later on, I decided to tidy the bathroom, got it all clean, went to hoover our bedroom, turned around, and there she was, swinging the toilet brush around like it was a lasso. So yeah, she's not a naughty child at all. She's just in that 2-year-old exploration stage where everything is climbable, everything is throwable, and everything is swingable. And I'm in that pregnant, tired, still got my energy, but tired stage where it's a tad more challenging. And it's funny because our eldest has always been quite still and content with reading or colouring or playing with those flashcards, that have the pictures of the animals on. She loved them when I was pregnant with our second. And that pregnancy felt so much more chill in a way. I know I've got 2 now, so it's going to be more busier. But yeah, it's funny the difference in your babies when they're raised the same, have the same genetics, but the personalities are completely different. And I love seeing that. It's just testing a little bit when you're pregnant. But we move, and Disney Plus is a godsend in the afternoon when I feel like I could just nap, whack on the Aristocats, and sometimes we're good for an hour and a half. It's all good. In other exciting news, I told you that I was taking part in a charity dance competition, and that took part on Sunday, the 1st of December. So it was like Strictly or Dancing with the Stars. I only went and won. And I totally, honestly wasn't expecting it. The result is based on the audience voting. So there's about 400 people there. And it was also streamed live on Facebook so people could watch and vote from home. And some of the other dancers had a lot more guests than me. So I just kind of presume, well, the guests that are with the dancers will vote for the dancers they're with. But yeah, I got the votes and I won with my partner, Chris, who is a phenomenal professional dancer and choreographed this amazing American Smooth to Cry Me a River by Michael Bublé, which I absolutely loved. And yeah, I had a fuchsia pink blacklist dress covered in diamantes, my hair and makeup done professionally, like real stage makeup. And it just felt like such a step out of the norm. So this is my reminder to, when you feel ready, push yourself out your comfort zone, find a new hobby, or just try something different so you can just dedicate time to you. It'll honestly make you feel wonderful. So yeah, that's my news for this week. And now on to the emails. So I had this one this week, which I thought I'd start with. And this is from a first-time mum. And she says, how do I deal with postpartum anxiety? I'm stressing about everything with my baby boy who's a month old. I don't sleep and I am constantly worrying. Please help. Oh, it's I think I've spoken about this early on the podcast, postpartum anxiety. It's a condition that affects so many more women than you realize. It's basically, if you don't know, it's something that can occur after giving birth and can cause excessive worrying and feelings of panic. Now, I first heard about this when I listened to the actress Kimberly Nixon on another podcast called Parent in Hell. And she spoke really openly and candidly about her experience with postpartum anxiety and some of like the harrowing thoughts she'd have. Now, she had this about 6 years ago. So she was on the podcast talking about how she'd come through it. But when she suffered with this 6 years ago, there was absolutely nothing on it back then. So she just blamed herself. There was no articles on it. There was no medical research really on it that she could find. And she said she would make her husband carry the baby down the stairs for her as she didn't trust herself not to drop him, how she very rarely drove in case something happened. She hid knives in the kitchen. She just said how debilitating it was. But she then spoke to her GP and was told that it's actually really common and help is available. And I think she had therapy and came through it feeling so much better. And she's now raising awareness about this. So it is really worth looking her up and following her. I think she's on she's definitely on Instagram, Kimberly Nixon. And she talks really openly about postpartum anxiety. And I think she's behind a charity or a cause based on it. So it's definitely worth looking her up. I think from my point of view, it's also worth considering that you're only 1 month in. You'll be completely sleep deprived, which always makes things a million times worse. And as a first-time mom, this is also new. You are going to overthink and you are going to worry. I remember doing it myself, not to an extent where it was keeping me awake like you, but I do remember having scary thoughts. What if the baby falls out the cot? What if I drop them? Obviously, we all panic about falling asleep with them in the night. Most of us have woken up in a panicked state, not being able to see where the baby is when they're safely in their cot. And I think your mind does, especially when you're tired, kind of create these worries and this sense of constant anxiety. Now, like I said, I didn't struggle with it to the extent that you are struggling with it. It was just the odd few thoughts for me now and then throughout the day. But if you are really excessively panicking and it's ruining the quality of your life, then definitely talk to a healthcare professional. In fact, to be honest, talk to one anyway. Tell them what you've told me. They may put your worries to rest or refer you, and it is worth it. I found an article online about the treatment for postpartum anxiety, and this just says, in general, postpartum anxiety is less struggle than its cousin, postpartum depression. However, it's estimated that at least 1 in 5 women suffers with it. We do know that therapies such as cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT are excellent treatments for anxiety disorders. For some women, medications may be helpful and are more effective when combined with therapy. So there are definitely treatments available for this. In fact, my very good friend works in perinatal care for new mums. I really should get her on the podcast, actually. She works for the NHS and provides CBT and counselling for new mums that are struggling with a whole array of mental health disorders. But I know she said there is definitely help available through the NHS. It's just not enough people know about it. So definitely reach out to your GP or your health visitor who will refer you. Now, I don't know your location from your email, so if you aren't based in the UK, it's worth searching what help is available in your region. And I really hope this helps you to find the support you need. The next email tonight says, "Hi Charlotte, I'm not sure if you have covered this on the podcast before, but I'm currently 6 months pregnant and wondered if there are any baby products you regret buying." Oh yeah, don't be bullied by that ingenious marketing they all pull. There is so much of it, and it will make you believe you need to spend thousands when you really don't. Let's not forget Instagram and Facebook and everybody sharing their baby buys that they've all been sponsored to share. Just firstly, don't buy into everything you see. You will be fed so much because of the marketing budget that these companies have, and it's just astronomical. And all the influencers share various things that they will make you believe you absolutely need when you don't. I'll tell you what mine were. So firstly, the Tommy Tippy nappy bin. An influencer got me on this, and it's the one where it has like the cassette lid and you put the nappy into the bin section, then twist the cassette, and it almost makes like a string of sausages out the nappies. And its selling point is to hide the smell. And yeah, it's for when you have it in the bedroom, you put the nappies in, you twist it, and you make this huge string of sausages that are nappies that is really difficult, in my opinion, to remove from the bin. And we used it once. We used it once, as in like created a full string of nappies, took it out. It was such a faff. We were like, why don't we just put the nappy in the normal bin and take the bin out? I think they advertise it for the night, kind of like, don't let your bedroom smell. And in my opinion, during the night, the baby just wheezes. I've very rarely had them poo in the night. So it's just a wet nappy, which we would just take down in the morning. It was never an issue. I think these brands are very good at creating problems that you think you might have. And actually, removal of nappies is not going to be your biggest issue. You know, even if you just use a small bin that's open in your room, take it out of the morning each day, it's got to be so low down on your list of priorities that personally I wouldn't invest in one of those bins. I think they were quite expensive as well, about £50, and you have to buy the new cassettes. So each bin comes with a cassette of like carrier bags that become the sausage nappies, if you like, and then you have to replace them. So yeah, that's number one. Number two, I didn't buy one, but I'm telling you, a changing table. I just don't think they are a necessity. I am not leaving the bed at 3 a.m. to walk to a changing table, turn on a light, change the baby. For me, the baby is staying in bed with me, and we're doing a swift nappy change on the bed with a dim light. Eventually, you'll be able to do it no light. Trust me. I just didn't see the use in a changing table. In fact, I brought a chest of drawers for the baby's clothes, and I just put a changing mat on there if I ever needed to. You know, before having the baby, I had it in my head, oh, I want to change them on a table, and I want to have all the clothes available underneath said table. So if you really want to get that kind of feature in the nursery or wherever you can have it, I would personally go for the chest of drawers, and obviously just be really careful when you're changing the baby they don't roll off. I never used it for that function, ever. I've always changed my babies on my knee. It's just what I find easiest. I think it's what my mum did with us. So I never personally had a use for a changing table. Next is scented baby products. I don't personally buy them myself, especially when they were very young. But I know anything heavily scented is not good for the skin, like scented wet wipes, for example, not good for the skin, especially when they're tiny. I did use water wipes for a while with my first. I think when it's your first baby, you want like the best of what you can get, and you buy into the fact that these water wipes are the only wipes that are like cotton wool and water. And then you realise after spending £3 a packet for about 3 or 4 months on wipes that Aldi's 67p version does pretty much exactly the same. So don't buy into the super expensive either scented products or non-scented products. There are so many alternatives on the market. For me, I just used baby Dove in the bath, just a tiny little bit. They don't need much, especially when they're firstborn. You're not meant to use any soap really to begin with. So anything like that, I wouldn't really buy into. And then the other thing that didn't really work for me is the wrap sling. The ones that are like a really stretchy long piece of material that you kind of have it wrap in a certain way. I had to watch a YouTube video. It wasn't too difficult once you got the swing of it. But even when I did it really securely, I just felt like the baby was kind of slipping down me. Just didn't work for me. If it works for you, I mean, they look really comfy and they look like they hug the baby to your chest really well. But for me, I didn't really bond with that type of sling. I did invest though in the Baby Bjorn sling, and that, in my opinion, was well worth it for ease and for comfort for the baby. That was when I had my second, I got that because I knew I'd be wearing the baby a lot with having a toddler. Going the shops, going out, just around the house, even having a very comfortable sling that I could have the baby in. I knew was going to be a worthy investment. So yeah, I would actually say the Baby Bjorn sling for me was worth the money. But yeah, apart from that, those are the products I wouldn't go near. And if anyone else has any products, because I think this is quite a good talking point, that you regret buying or that you feel were, naff when you invested money into them, then please email me, thenightviewpodcast@gmail.com. Next tonight is Social Media Says. It's Spotify rap time, isn't it? Social media is all over it. I actually had a split millisecond where I was like, oh, I'll share mine. And then I remembered. Shout out if yours is a mashup of Baby Lullabies, Disney Classics, and Paw Patrol. Do you know, I haven't even looked yet at my Spotify Wrapped, but I can tell you close to 100%. I'm close to 100% sure on this that my top 5 song lineup will be Shake It Off, YMCA by the Village People, Copacabana by Barry Manilow, I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book, and probably Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo from the original Cinderella. And no, they are not my choices. It's like my wardrobe now. My clothes are older than my children. Yeah, anytime I shop for them. And anytime I play Spotify, I play it for them. And I wouldn't change it. Just maybe a tad less Shake It Off. I love Taylor, but I hear that song in my sleep. My self-care suggestion this evening is to watch a cheeky little romantic Christmas movie in your PJs after a bath with all the chocolate, hot chocolate and snacks. Put your feet up and indulge in a bit of Hugh Grant as Prime Minister, or Cameron Diaz in a cottage, or if you are old school like me, James Stewart doing some reflecting with a slice of Donna Reed. Did you get any of those? Well, enjoy it anyway. Finally, to finish on a quote I wrote. I see you there, in the quiet glow of the night. It's just us, Mama. Your tired arms holding me close, the world around us fast asleep. You think you're alone, but you're not. Right now, in houses you'll never see, in bedrooms across the world, there's a village of mothers just like you. There's a mama sitting in a rocking chair, humming softly. A mama bouncing on tired legs, tears in her eyes. A mama rubbing sleepy eyes, scrolling on her phone, wishing for a sign she's doing okay. Mama, you're not alone. They're out there, just like you, awake in the night, doing the impossible. You might not feel it right now. You might not feel the tiredness will ever end, that the nights are too long, that you're not enough, but to me, you are everything. You are my warmth, my safety, my home. And one day you'll look back at these nights, you'll forget how heavy your eyelids felt, and only remember how light my breath was on your chest. So when you're sitting there, wondering if you're alone, just know there's a whole world of mothers awake with you, lighting up the night with their love. We see you, Mama, and you are never, ever alone. Thanks for listening this evening. Thanks for being here as always. If you have anything you'd like to share on the podcast, any emails you'd like to write in with questions, stories, advice, or if you have any responses to the emails I've already shared, then please email me thenightviewpodcast@gmail.com. And I wish you all a restful, peaceful night ahead. Good night.